transfer station as it relates to our proposal.
Isn't this about, I mean, last week the board voted to have Casella Transportation take our materials from the transfer station to NCES.
Yep.
And part of that proposal also is the rental of the dumpsters.
Yep. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could always reconsider that, but I don't think.
I'm sorry. And I know there was a question about recycling and what was in and what was not and what was included. The program that we had proposed was a single stream system where materials are commingled and then are mechanically separated at our Rutland MRF. So the material would be taken to our Bethlehem transfer station and then transported to Rutland for further processing. So that was the idea. I know there was some question about scrap metal. That is not part of our proposal. So what you guys are doing with scrap metal, there's no changes there as far as we're concerned.
And if we choose to, we can still recycle and continue to do the way we were.
You can do, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I thought. 'Cause I know that
Define
was,
recycle, because he's saying that all the we could still separate our recyclables, is that what you mean?
So so currently you guys are separating everything out, but it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, your scrap metal also includes like steel cans.
I believe the last time I talked to Kyle, or somebody talked to Kyle.
Like
their
soup cans.
Soup cans are going to
Yes.
scrap metal,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
the aluminum soda cans, so that they're separate, and he takes them to Littleton.
Town of Littleton?
Yeah, the last I knew.
Okay, are you guys getting paid for that?
I haven't seen any revenue on that whatsoever.
Okay,
We've been taking all of our recycling except for the metal. The dumpster that has the heavier metals.
Yep.
All of our recycling has been going to Littleton.
Okay.
They don't charge us for it, and we don't get paid for it.
Okay.
So they take everything and process everything at no cost to us, with the exception of electronics, which we pay for.
sure.
So do we have the option of still doing that with our recycling, or are we required to give them to Casella?
These are costs associated with services that if you want to use us for the recycling, fine, you can do that. And here's your cost. It's all upfront. You see what those costs are. There's probably some hidden costs for you guys. Like, I'm guessing you're paying somebody to transport that material to Littleton.
That's
So
right.
there are some costs. It's not free.
Sure.
Um,
But that's someone's employment.
Understood. But these are just the costs for us. If you wanted us to manage that, here's how we propose to manage that, and here's the cost associated.
Right.
If Dalton wants to continue doing what you're doing with recycling, that's your choice. Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, there's no issue with that at all.
So we could do that instead of paying the $32 a ton.
We can still stay that way, and so we'll look into a little deeper, because I'd like to see that, the cans, I mean, you take, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that adds up at the end of the year, the aluminum cans.
Mhm.
And the town should be getting revenue on some of this stuff.
Right, but if we send our recycling to Casella, we're
Yeah,
not getting any revenue, we're
Right.
just paying $32 a ton,
Right.
so that's still a possibility.
that can be later discussion. Right now, we can go with this here, and so that we can get some cans in there, because that was gonna ask you, once we sign this, can you get cans in there tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Dumpsters.
I will see what I can do as
If
far
we
as
can
how
get-
quickly we can get stuff
We
to
can get at least one for the trash, because I noticed that they moved out today.
Whiting's.
No,
The Addy.
Yeah,
Yeah, which we knew they were going to as of
Right.
January 1, which is
Yeah.
why December 9th, I wanted to go forward with the
Yeah.
plan.
So when is the next, so is tomorrow an open day for
open
you
day
guys?
at noon to 5. But I mean, if we have to have one afternoon closed, I mean, it's not gonna be the end of the world. But it would be nice so that we can accommodate the residents.
Now, forgive me, I've not been to the site, so I'm not familiar with the size of the containers. Do you know the size of the containers? Are they 30 yard, are they 40 yard?
They're 30 yard, but I got looking at it, and I believe a 40 yard would work.
Would work.
I I don't know about getting it in and out, I mean, because I don't do that for a living.
Sure.
Don't they have to
I
use
think we
a,
had checked on that like 5 years ago, and I don't remember the specifics. Carol, do you remember? Was a 40-yard not gonna fit? Didn't we check on something?
I think we had to redo the pads.
they
We did that.
overextended by about 4 feet on each side. And, so, I mean, trash going in can still be thrown if you choose to, but if we need to stay to 30, I'm not gonna argue that point.
So here's what we'll do. We'll get a 30 in there, but if we get a 30 in there and it's like, wow, there's still some room in here.
Yeah.
We can
Okay,
do that. Does that work for you guys?
And then reevaluate
Yeah,
to see if we can
absolutely.
do the 40-yard.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable
Yeah.
to me.
All right, so the other thing I just want to suggest or to offer is to work with you guys on the recycling or waste diversion side of things. I'm happy to assist with that.
okay,
Just before I came up here, I was in Connecticut, and this is what I did in Connecticut. I worked with municipalities on establishing waste diversion programs.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what they?
So what I would suggest is looking at what's going into trash, what you're recycling, how much is going to Littleton, what's going to scrap metal, and just try to get everything kind of bundled together so that you guys could see, right, here's what's going here and here's the cost, and here's what's going there and here's the cost. And just put things together and just see, are there opportunities to add additional materials through recycling, things of that nature. And just,
I think
Is
that's,
there
just
an
to
educational
evaluate it.
component as well?
yeah, and that's in our proposal as well, that we'd be happy to work with you on,
I think it'd be
developing some brochures, signage, just make sure that it makes sense.
And so you'd actually look at the trash that's going, the municipal waste
Yeah.
that's going in, see what.
Take a look and see what's going in that, look at the weights, we can make sure that when the cans are getting pulled, that they're actually full and that there isn't, are we pulling it too early? Is there opportunity for a larger container to reduce, transportation costs? Things
Yeah.
like that, so,
I think that'd be a great idea, Michelle.
and that's just part of the package, that's,
Yeah.
that's what we do.
Composting, you have. is that part of it?
We do offer food waste composting. We currently offer it at the Bethlehem transfer station.
But
We can certainly include that in the evaluation as an option
I thought
and
we had a
present
file.
pricing.
Yeah, we have a compost pile.
Just a pile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, the compost needs to be turned, and so if we talk to Adam, they can turn it every now and again. And then
Rosemary
residents
did
can use
pumpkins.
it for gardening or whatever.
Rosemary did pumpkins.
Does it? I used to have voluntary
Yeah.
squash in mine.
So I'm happy to look at that as well.
Okay.
I guess the important thing that I just want to point out that I'm a resource for you guys. So if you have questions, can we do this? Does that work? Can you do that? Whatever it might be, please reach out and ask.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really like the opportunity to respond to something instead of it being, later, somebody said this about you guys and that you can or can't do this. Come to us. Come to, I've got cards, happy to leave those.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's got my,
And we can introduce you to Kyle, because Kyle runs that transfer. Kyle Bean.
Do you have one more?
oh, absolutely.
Thank you. So are you new with Casella?
I've been with Casella for 2 years. Prior to that, I ran the City of Lebanon landfill for the City of Lebanon here in New Hampshire. The majority of my career has been managing municipal solid waste programs. I was the state recycling coordinator with DES for a few years, so I'm very familiar with New Hampshire waste reduction diversion programs in New Hampshire.
Well, I think for the past 5 years, we've talked about a need to look at our transport station and the operations. We just have not had the capacity
And
to do that.
feel free to, I'd love to schedule a time to walk the site with Kyle. And anybody else that wants to walk it and just.
Yeah.
When I worked for DES, I did technical assistance with transfer stations, did facility recommendations, so happy to assist where I can.
Super.
So, because we need to move quickly because we need the dumpsters there.
Yeah.
But do you have a contract for us to, because this is a
I-
proposal, it's not a contract.
Correct. I will email that over to you first thing in the morning. When I leave here tonight, I will call some people about seeing if we can get containers to you tomorrow.
Okay, because we can't sign it outside of a meeting.
Okay,
We have to do it in a public meeting.
we can work that, we'll work through.
So we are meeting again next Monday.
Yep.
Okay. But if we could get the containers in the interim,
Yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good, and, Saturday probably the best time to meet with Kyle if you wanted to. And anybody else that wanted to be there. I don't know
or
if that.
Tuesday,
Well,
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, I mean, they're gonna be busy trying to get a can in there, but
Or next Tuesday.
that's why
I'm thinking next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
See
Now,
what's-
is there one dumpster there now?
No,
They leave one?
just the metal is there, that's it, the metal dumpster.
Okay.
The other two are gone.
And
When
the
I-
metal is ours, right? Not rented?
That part I never knew.
The metal container belongs to All Metals Recycling.
Okay.
But I spoke with Adam and he was supposed to get in touch with Beatty to see if they were selling any of their dumpsters. If they're selling them, then, and we don't have any, now may be the time to buy them. We've got money in the capital reserve for the transfer station.
And then we wouldn't have to rent them,
Right.
depending on the cost.
So they're about $8,000 to $10,000 a piece,
Even used?
maybe 6. But it's the savings
Have to do
worth
some
that, just.
$150 a month. Take a while to,
Well, 300 a month. Because we need 2.
yeah, but if we have to buy 3, that'd be 18,000.
Yeah, but the metals
Would
belongs
stay,
to whoever
right.
the recycler is, yeah.
So it'd be 12,000 to buy one versus 300 a month,
12,000 to buy 2.
to buy 2 rather, yeah. Versus 300 a month, so take a while.
4
to-
years,
Okay,
just over 4 years.
and they last forever, pretty much.
They do not last forever. Do not, no. 10 years, 10, 12 years. It really depends on how they're managed. Sometimes communities will push the contents of the box down with a backhoe or a loader.
Yeah.
That usually shortens the life. I mean, depending on the operator, can do a lot of damage with a piece of equipment.
Right.
So nothing lasts forever. I mean, it depends on containers. How you spec that out. You can get a really inexpensive container and that's what you're getting. The gauge of steel is thinner. You might pay a little bit more, but you get a few more years out of the container. It's a higher gauge steel. It depends on what you want to buy and what's out there. So.
Well, we can discuss that further down the line road. Put
And
a
see if
idea.
Beatty has some for sale and
Yeah.
the condition.
Yeah, where he's not doing it anymore.
But for now, you need containers immediately.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I will get a draft agreement to Jeanette, and then we'll be right back here next Monday.
All right,
for
appreciate it.
Yep.
Same
And I'd
time.
assume that if you could get the containers like tomorrow morning, we could have somebody open the transfer station for them.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's two sets of checks in there. A smaller one, paper clipped on the top, and then that big one that you just took the clip off of.
Okay.
Because in order for the December ones to stay in 2024, I had to do two separate check runs.
Okay, so these are the ones, you want
Those
to
are
keep them separate?
2024, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, at this point, it won't matter because I've separated them. They've
okay.
been cut separate, but
And so the balance at our sweep account includes the loan, the TAN.
yes.
I thought our school payment was going to go down starting January 1.
Yeah, so I had asked her about that, and I wasn't aware that we paid the county, or paid the school payment and the state school payment to the schools.
Oh, yeah.
So it went down, but only by a couple $100.
These go on that file. Do these go on that file?
No, these,
You said the file.
that's a separate one, yeah.
let's just go through that file.
I see all the ones in that pile. You know,
Did you see this one? I don't think you saw this one either.
Check the, so this,
No, there was one check, two
so it's in the
invoices.
back.
There was two invoices, one check.
What's in our roll for these?
I didn't know, I didn't get one. I just kept separate.
Is there another roll for these?
Those are the, I don't know that did I see those or not?
I think so, yeah. Go to the top.
Yep.
We're doing top side,
Yep,
this way.
I see. Okay.
Here's the bank reconciliations and transaction report for December as well as a transaction report for 2024. The transaction report for December and 2024 are going to change if we get more December invoices in until we close the year. Just,
How are we doing on
as a
getting our
side
December invoices?
I think we're pretty close. I didn't get the mail today, it hadn't come as of like 4:30, so I'm
Okay.
sure that some will trickle in.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
And the loan was processed after December 6th, right? The date of the statement.
Yes.
Are we gonna try to clear out the,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
the unrec,
Yes.
checks, okay.
I keep trying to get to that and keep getting sidetracked.
Different other things going on. FEMA. What's the tax revenue coming?
We are like 84 or 86% collected.
That's pretty good, isn't it? Within 30 days from the time they get out is all passed, right?
Yes, it was December 26th.
And is that, so that's about what we usually are?
Close.
And so with that, I might be misremembering the numbers. We took 10 for 200K.
Yep.
And then we'll use our fund balance for 175K.
Yep.
And so our cash flow is, okay.
Yep.
And when should we be able to repay the TAN?
There's some variables there that we'll probably want to discuss when we know more. 4.5% is pretty cheap right now. So if we had to borrow something as far as continuing to fix roads or Smith Road or anything like that, it would probably be wiser to wait to pay back the TAN than to take a new loan. So I'm gonna have to do some comparisons there. We do have a veterans credit application that was approved by our new assessor. He was here today for his first day. So that needs to be signed. Meeting minutes from the December 9th community power public hearing.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the public hearing for the community power project.
I'll
So it's
second.
held on December 9th.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting minutes from the regular select board meeting on December 9th.
Sorry,
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our regular meeting on December 9th.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Go forward if you're looking for the signature page.
I think before the attachments. Yep.
All right then.
There, yep.
Non-public 1, 2, and 3 from December 9th.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for the non-public sessions number 1, 2, and 3. I did make a correction on number 2 because I voted nay about going into all 3 of the non-public sessions. So that's amended.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting minutes from 12/26.
Make a motion to approve. 26th.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Did you say nay or aye?
I said aye.
You second that, right, Jovette?
Yes.
1, 2, and 3 from December 26th.
I do, I'm waiting. All right, well then mind your own business. You shut the hell up. Yep, I said it. Do you wanna hear what I have to say, or do you want me to wait
Ron.
until you open the forum?
Can you wait, please?
I will.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the non-public meeting minutes from December 26th, numbers 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I 1, I 2, nay 3.
That's all I have, Eric.
Okay. Guess you're up, Kathleen.
Okay, broadband initiative, for the first grant, that was being processed for Coos County, the $40 million grant. They finished all of the wiring connections through Whitefield and Dalton. So if residents have not applied yet for the CCI Fidium, recommendation is to connect with them and see about it. If they have issues, let you know, and I can, kind of the communications, give me the list of anybody having issues, and I will get with Jeff from CCI Fidium and take care of that. At our meeting, the discussions was basically that a good majority of the county has been completed on this stage in the grants. There are 2 additional grants that are being processed, and those not covered, it is the hopes that they get covered in these remaining grants, and those are coming in different stages through the next year or so. There are a couple of cases that have been reported, not from Dalton, but through the Whitefield Connection Program, where there was an issue regarding the lines going in for direct to the house. And what we learned is that if it's buried and beyond 250 feet, there may be a partial cost to the customer because the limit for underground was 250. Above ground and everything, there was no limit. It was free for connection and installation. So it'll be done by a case-by-case basis if that issue arises for any of the residents. And that's about it. There's more grant programs that they've bidded for, and find out more at the next meeting.
When's the next meeting?
Don't have a date because now there seems to be a possibility that the group overseeing the committee may have had their contract ended due to budget cuts, but that hasn't been confirmed. I don't know yet. But I still do have a connection with Jeff in regards to everything that's gone on for Dalton.
Thank you.
How much they charge per foot underground? If it's set up?
That's a case-by-case basis, based on the situation that's going on. In the area that it happened, it is somebody in Whitefield, where there was over 250 feet that they had to go underground. Something about when this section of housing was done, the lines ended at a pole at the start of the cul-de-sac or area. But these are people that are on the Whitefield line, but their addresses are with the town of Lancaster. So it's a unique situation.
Do you know if it's better to be underground or on the line?
Actually, right now, not really. Their biggest issue with any of that going on is whether or not there was conduit pipe for the line to go through. If there isn't, it's usually why I think they like to cut it back to 250 feet. But, but other than that, there's nothing to say which is better.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I think if there's not conduit line, then they'll come back to the spring and area. So that's what they did for my house.
It's
They're gonna basically
possible.
laying on the ground and around, and they'll come back and bury it in the spring.
Right, but the biggest piece is they've got to ensure that nothing goes over where it's laid on the ground in regards to that. You can't get anything going over it because it will damage the line. So, but right now, pretty much on target for everybody that applies.
Is Carl here to talk about something with the planning board?
Yeah, so, I know Joe Beth and Eric, you're familiar with the glamping project. And the piece that I wanted to have the board thinking about is, once the planning board, if we approve this, it's just gonna go forward, right? But if there is a need to do anything on the roads, if there is a concern about narrow points on Blakesley, this is the time to have that dialogue. And so right now, for the planning board, we're a month into the 2-month window. We're going to talk to them on Wednesday night again, and certainly we'll hear more about what they don't want to do. I do have a question into New Hampshire Municipal to understand, can we, should we, but I wanted to at least get that in front of the select board to think about, is that something that as a town, we want to have some requirement or some trigger points. What we don't want is for there to be an accident as a result of, a bunch of folks from out of town that don't understand lane and a half is not too wide, how to drive with people walking their dogs. So again, I just want to make sure the board is thinking about that and understanding, it's I don't think the planning board has full say in that, so I wanted you all to think from that viewpoint as well.
So with the road, there's still repair to be done after the flood, is that true?
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
But Adam, that there would be some money to bring it back to the lane and a half or so that we had before, but not to improve it further.
We actually had a conversation today with FEMA, Jim was there. They spent like 250,000 repairs so far. There's another 500 and something thousand dollars to put it back to what it was before it washed out. When we get all done, after they spend the 700,000, we can get another 700+ thousand dollars in mitigation money to further improve the road. That road is probably one of the top roads. It's going to be improved, if you will, big time under this repair work through FEMA. So I see a huge improvement in that road. I mean, I'm not saying it has anything to do with this. However, the money is there. We talked to the guy about mitigation today, and we're in the process of getting all the estimates and all the stuff turned in, and so that in the spring, hopefully Adam can get started on the rest of the repairs and mitigating that road. When they get done paying for this, they want that road so that this pretty much doesn't happen again, and they're willing to spend the money to do it. So
what about the safety issues with increased traffic on the road, and will it be a little bit wider once repairs are made?
it'll be considerably wider.
So will it be the two?
Be a huge
Will
improvement.
it be 2 lanes rather than 1.5?
Yeah, definitely. Now, that doesn't fix the traffic. I mean, there's, you still gotta consider the traffic flow on the road and that type of stuff. The road itself I see as being probably the best that it's been in a long time, probably ever at the rate, from what we're hearing. They're talking about upgrading culverts, upgrading culvert headers, putting a matting system in the road that will keep the road from washing and that type of stuff. And there's apparently a lot of money.
I know Adam bought a couple of the culverts, they went 2 sizes bigger.
So hopefully we can get some use out of, that's why we bought an excavator and whatever, is to be able to, hopefully the town do a lot of that work. But yeah, it's looking very promising as far as repairs and improvements to all of these roads.
The one piece we don't know much about, or kind of, and Eric, you may be exposed to more than the rest of us, but kind of line of sight and those pieces of road safety.
I did 3 or 4 feet.
Can't remember.
And I did ask New Hampshire Municipal about that. Can we say to, in this case, under canvas, hey, we would need a road traffic study done, and we would need you to do it. So far they're not very interested in doing much of anything, but that's first round of commentary. So hope to have an answer on that by tomorrow or next day.
So the question is whether we need a traffic study. And I guess the alternative is it'd be nice, but not not required. And then would under campus pay for it? And if they don't, then what do we, I mean, what's our,
Do we have documents stating that mitigation would pay an additional 700,000+ for improvements?
Well, we're in the process of working with FEMA. Every week we meet with them, working through all these figures and whatever. We will have to provide documentation to them. They're going to approve the money, and then we have to document.
Right.
And whatever. Of course, it also comes down to the initial repair. We're going to get 75%. So we got to understand that.
Yeah.
And this money is probably going to be upfront money that's handed to us. It's reimbursement.
Right.
So that's the other thing you got to look at.
Right.
So it's great for the town, but there is some
Wait time.
stipulations.
So in other
there,
words,
some
we have to
wait
pay the
time.
bill before we get reimbursed.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, it's a reimbursement thing, so we have to get that part of it.
so I don't have a sense, I'm not a road expert, or when the road is repaired and the mitigation is done, what the safety issue concerns will be. Are there still narrow places on the road or sharp corners where we're concerned about visibility, or do we still have issues?
This area that you're talking about is a specific section, it's kind of the length of it?
Yeah, it's pretty much the length of, certainly up through where they're gonna be going.
Is it up by the
Primary
Y?
problem.
Because that's pretty narrow.
Yes, yeah, that's all gonna get widened out and repaired and whatever. The question, like I said, the question is, the question's traffic. I don't know what the traffic's gonna be like.
But if we get to a point where, through FEMA, for example, we've got a good road width there, then maybe it's just signage or things like that are simpler, that we say, hey, slow down, blind corner, whatever, but there is enough road width for somebody walking, they're not gonna have a problem around town. So anyway, these are some of the pieces that we just
So people walk, it's the people that pay the taxes that drive the roads that matter. The people that walk, you need to stay out of the way of vehicles that are on the road.
Done.
No label.
I'm out of here. You people have a fun night.
For those of you that weren't there, we certainly heard from a number of citizens that live in that area and walk, and were concerned about those calls today, much less when we have increased traffic.
Well, and I think even if we had a 2-lane paved road,
Still.
you still risk there being an accident with a pedestrian or bicycle rider or another car, because people drive on the wrong side of the lane all the time.
Yeah.
So, I think getting the road back to where it needs to be, being 1.5, 1 3/4, 2 lanes, whatever that was. Adam said that still needed to happen. The ditching is too wide, so that'll give some width back to the road as it should have been maintained before. And, mitigation, helping push things back, ditching being correct, head walls, so on and so forth. I think all of that is going to help tremendously.
Yeah.
But there's no way to make sure that it's 100% safe and foolproof. There's just no way.
Right.
So,
And that's anywhere,
right.
basically, yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of anywhere. So,
So,
Right, I mean, we all experience this every day driving in town. But none of the roads are as wide as probably we'd like, and some of the sight lines not as good as we want, but we're all used to that.
and I think putting signs up, sorry to interrupt, but putting signs up, lots of signs, is going to be one of the answers to that. Just like you said, because people aren't used to it.
And maybe some of them bring bikes and they're gonna add bike traffic and, it's just a lot of unknown. And my concern is, strictly based on the technical pieces and the plans there, there's no issue there. But it's this other stuff that's hard to quantify to say, are we ready and able to just say, go ahead, and then we experience what we experience. So I'm no expert, and that's why I just wanted to bring it up here so you all are thinking about that in a similar way. If there's something to say, it's before we approve that project, and afterwards, tough luck.
So I think as a board, I mean, you have to decide if you want to require some type of memorandum of agreement where, they do X, Y, and Z, whether it's a traffic study or just putting up signage or things like that, or whether we want to just, I mean, if it's signs, I think that's part of our, we can do that out of tax revenue conceivably.
Well, that's signage, what is that, very expensive, do you know?
No.
I don't think so.
So, why don't we accumulate a percentage of the 25% that people won't take care of?
Well,
Have them take care of part of it at least.
Well, they
I don't
won't
think
pay
they
for
can,
signs.
we can't ask them to pay the 25% that FEMA won't do.
No, I'm not saying the whole 25 is part of it.
I don't think we can ask them to do any of that, because if they weren't coming in, we would be doing that anyway. So I don't think we can, but, I think we don't have a sense for whether we need to do anything further or not, so I don't know the cost of a traffic study. Do we require that, or is that superfluous at this point? We've got a couple people who all
Isn't
wanted to
traffic
talk.
study basically on your main state highways?
Well, certainly the state does, but I mean, they could be done anywhere. And, I'm not overly concerned about the number of cars per day, but it's more, in my mind, more about sight lines.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that.
At their hearing, they said that they would do signs
Right.
to make sure people didn't take other roads, and so I'm sure they would put up a few signs going.
Yeah.
But just share some thoughts on this. Number one, it sounds like, Ron, the state's gonna bring it back to the state standard.
FEMA's gonna bring it back.
I'm sorry, FEMA will
Yes.
help us bring it back to the state standard. At that point, anything that we're all concerned about or not concerned about is nothing but a pain.
Yep.
Right? It's at state standard. So that means it meets sight lines, it meets width, all those different things. So I think that's the first thing to keep in mind. The second thing is, planning board has some power in terms of doing some very, in my opinion, simple things that we could ask with on the campus. So one would be signs. Why should we pay for signs? Let them put up signs, right? Slow, X miles per hour, whatever that is, right? The navigation signs, that's a pretty low expense for a company their size. We shouldn't foot the bill. They could absolutely handle something like that. The last thing I would say, as a business owner who has to deal with lane and a half wide roads and traffic, we brief our client. I started this year briefing our clients on respecting the roads and the neighbors. And so maybe part of the thing is there's a handout that they have to provide when people are checking in that says, be aware of this road is this miles per hour, it's only a lane and a half, make sure that you yield to pedestrians, whatever. I mean, there's things that you could provide from a planning board, or ask, I should say, as part of the approval that are, in my eyes, very low barrier things that they would just say yes. So just a couple thoughts. Thanks.
I think in talking to them too, and maybe I've talked to them a lot more than a lot of the other people, because I was originally approached about fire codes and all that type of stuff. And I can tell you that neither here nor there, and it's not my place to get in the middle of it, but they're not beyond looking at another town. I have been told that. So if it works for them, great. If it doesn't,
They want to be,
they pretty much
They
said
wanna
that
be-
they will look at another community
but if it gets too difficult.
if this gets too difficult,
Yeah.
is what they're saying. So,
Like any business.
yeah, exactly, whatever. So, but that doesn't change anything, but.
Well, and I think we need to keep in mind that they don't want there to be any accidents or incidents either.
We have a
Right.
very low accident
There's,
rate.
you know, it's their best interest for their business to also be safe.
I don't think we respond to 3 or 4 car accidents in that
You know,
in a year.
I think if we return the road to what it needs to be by state standards for the class of road that it is, and there's signs that go up, we ask them to educate their patrons, you know, like Paul said, I think that's a great idea in their emails and their check-in packet and their whatever, you know. You came out here to be, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. Let's respect that and remember that, you know, we're not driving in Manchester or Boston or Chicago or whatever. So, you know, I think it's a great opportunity, but I also think that we can't overthink it because anything could happen anywhere.
Yeah,
You
and,
know.
and my main point is just, you know, if the planning board approves, then
Once you
it's
send it,
done.
it's gone.
Right, so this is our one time to talk about, should
Cover
be,
your bases a little.
right, exactly, so I just wanted to make sure that, you know, broader audience in the town thinking about it, if you think we definitely should do something, let's talk about it, if you feel like we probably are fine with signs and things like that, then, you know, I'm fine with that too.
And so in terms of the signs and maybe, you know, briefing the clients, do we need like a memorandum of agreement for that, or are you comfortable that you can just do it in your approval process?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be contingent on many things anyways, if there's a half dozen state permits they need, so, you know, contingent on you getting all these permits, and, this may be another one that we say, and contingent on, you know, adding, appropriate signage, you know, as Adam
Or
decides.
safety issues?
Yeah, something like that. And we'll make clear, it's not about doing more than that, it's just signing, you know, on either side of a concerning area.
Seems like they're trying to get ahead of everything. Like I said, I was approached months ago. I have plans for some of the buildings. They're looking to get the fire code issues worked out ahead of time, so they're not doing it after the fact. I mean, it seems to me like they're trying to get ahead of everything and
Yeah.
make
There's a
sure
ton
that
of work
everything's
in that
approved.
packet,
And
for sure.
that's what I get from dealing with them, is that they're trying to get ahead of everything and make sure that once this is done, they're ready to go. And they don't have to,
But at the same time, they're anxious, they
Oh,
want
yeah.
approval yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But the ball's in our
Sure.
court, we've got another 35 days before we have to make a decision, so I don't want to be rushed, I want to make sure we're thinking about it.
What was your discussion? I don't know if the select board needs to do anything.
No, the only thing, I think, you know,
I like Paul's idea with the signs and the
yeah,
briefing.
and it's gotta be brought, the road's gonna be brought back to state specs anyways.
Right.
The only thing, I don't know if this is going too far, but a stipulation of, because nobody's perfect, they tear the roads up, they're responsible for tearing the roads. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're out partying and they decide to leave and tear it up. It's gotta be fixed, you know?
I don't think they're gonna have to draw that kind of crowd.
I don't think
You
so.
don't think
Yeah,
so?
yeah.
Well, I don't know nothing about it, so
I
that's
think
why
that
I'm throwing it out
would need
there.
to be dealt with the individual.
So what kind of
cause of
crowd are you
damage.
talking about?
Talking Ritz-Carlton campers.
Yeah.
I'm lost. I'll leave it alone.
$500 a night to $300 to $500 a night to be in a platform tent.
Okay then.
Yeah, they got money back.
And mosquitoes.
We don't get
So that's all I've got, appreciate the discussion, thanks.
No, I think it's been a good discussion, and it's good for
Yeah.
the board to know
Yeah.
more of the details, and it's good to hear the plans for the road too. I don't think I had that full
Yeah.
picture of the road, so that's
a
an
long
important
process, as Jeanette knows.
We're not even near done.
Yeah.
It's all right.
negotiation pro?
You guys had asked me to bring the proposal to the meeting. I just printed one because everyone's gotten it before. It was 42,000 or 90-something thousand, and we had talked about doing the lesser of the two.
We made a motion on that already. Is there something we need to sign?
No, just we talked about, well, there will be a contract, but we talked about it and you guys asked me to bring the proposal, so I just brought that. So I'll ask for the contract.
I know we talked about it, because you got 42, what's the 92? That far?
That's the dig deep, uncover every stone type of reval that we've already had.
Okay, that's done like every 5 years, something like that.
Well, a reval is done every 5 years, but the statistical one is done like every 15 or 20 years. Or cyclical one.
The other way around.
The NCA negotiation about the reimbursement letter,
That's all done.
that's all done. Petition for the town, special town meeting.
That's been scheduled for 7 p.m. on January 16th here in the municipal building in the gym. Did I say July?
You said the 17th, it's the 16th.
July 16th. Thought I said
No.
July. Did I say July?
You said January, you didn't say July.
January 16th. It's a Thursday at 7 p.m.
And that's been put in the newspaper too, right?
It's going in the newspaper on Wednesday.
That date does not give adequate time for notice. Just looking at some of the rules here, that 2023 New Hampshire Revised Statutes, Title III Towns, Cities, Village Districts, Unincorporated Places. Chapter 39, Time for holding town meetings and warning thereof. Section 39:5, Posting the warrant. Posting the warrant. The selectmen may address their warrant to the voters of the town, in which case they shall post an attested copy of such warrant at the place of meeting and a like copy at one other public place in the town, at least 14 days before the meeting. The 14 days shall not include the day of posting, nor the day of the meeting. It shall include any Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays within the said period.
The warrant was posted. That talks about
When was it?
posting the warrant. It was posted last Monday when it was signed. Or, yes, last Monday when it was signed.
Or the Tuesday afterwards, because it actually posted the next day.
It may have been the next day. I don't know. I was here till 10:30
So
last
you're
Monday.
noticing of the town to that
The
meeting.
town warrant that you talk about has to be posted within, or at least 14 days.
And the noticing of the meeting.
The noticing of the meeting went onto the website.
On
It
what
also
date?
is on the door.
What date?
It would have been the same time.
Which was January 2nd? That's
No.
what it says on the website.
December 27th,
No,
26th or 27th.
no,
No,
that's
we
not what
didn't,
it
the
says on the
petition
website.
the petition wasn't signed until the 6th, the meeting of the 6th, was it not?
Today is the 6th.
It's on, sorry,
Yeah, today is the 6th.
sorry.
So the last meeting that we had was
Right here.
December
It's
26th.
And that's when we
26th,
signed the warrant.
That's, yeah.
but it wasn't posted at that moment.
But it
And
would have been
I
posted
haven't
on
seen anything in the
27th.
newspaper. Are we doing anything in the newspaper?
It has to be posted in the newspaper within you have to give 7 days notice in the newspaper. You have to notice it, you have to notice it 14 days, newspaper is 7 days.
I don't agree. I'm gonna file a complaint with the state.
Okay.
So that, I have section 39:4, special meetings. The selectmen, when calling a special town meeting, shall Within 1 week after posting the warrant, therefore, cause copies of the warrant to be published once in a newspaper of general circulation in said town.
So I'm unclear on this governing body certification. Certifying the tests that are on or before January, I'm not sure if it's 11 or 16, 2025. A true and attested copy of this document is posted at 756 Dalton Road.
Which document are you looking at, Pam? The actual posting of the warrant? The same one that's on the wall over there?
How do I know you posted it like that? When I'm going by the website.
Well, you're asking me,
I am asking you.
so I wouldn't lie to you.
Jeanette, let's not even go that way. But anyways, I don't agree that you have noticed the
That's
town.
fine, you cannot agree and you can file a complaint and I can prove what I posted and when.
Okay, you can. Certainly. How do you post something that you put up on a wall and just say, oh,
You
I
make
did
a,
it?
make a copy of it, put the, I don't know, Pam, how did you post non-public meetings on the window outside?
Did I? I did not.
I don't know, did you?
I don't know.
I mean, you're,
But it also went on the web.
Yeah, dated the 2nd of January.
okay,
That's not 14 days before the meeting. Anyways, my other thing is, here, Tom, I found something else, Eric.
are we doing this now or are we waiting till public
I might as well
comment to
get it
do
over
it?
with now. So
Well, it's not public comment.
relax, Jeanette, relax. It's all good.
Moving on,
This is exactly what I mean.
budget prep hearing.
Yep, we have a budget prep meeting on Monday,
That's 30.
6:30. Can I see what Pam gave you?
Why?
Because I asked to.
You're so good.
I don't care.
I really don't.
Monday's the 13th, right?
Yes, it is.
Came from the minutes. That helps you.
Okay, what does this have to do with anything?
If you look at the email, that's the concern.
But the email was changed.
So if I can, I'm
And
sorry,
how
Joe
come
Beth.
it's still being used by Forest Lake?
Let me address the comment, since now's the time for you to speak. I'm gonna address the comment about the Connecticut Valley Environmental Services letter that you randomly came up with last week, asking if it was ever received by the select board, feeling that the selectmen@townofdalton.com is actually a diverted email to say Forest Lake or something. Selectmen at Town of, you did, because then you said it was on the Save Forest Lake or Forest Lake State Park, Forest Lake State Park Facebook page. This email was received by the selectmen at the email address selectmen@townofdalton.com, because that is still a valid email address, because that was the email address prior to our change over to the .gov.
And I knew you'd say that.
Well, because that's the truth. So when you speak the truth, you should know it, right? So selectmen@townofdalton.com was the email, is still a valid email. It gets forwarded to selectmen@townofdaltonnh.gov, which is our new domain that we use.
Understood.
So
Explain the Forest Lake page.
Forest Lake State Park page?
Mhm.
Which Forest Lake page, Pam?
It is a Forest Lake page.
Which one?
By John Swan, and it is using.
Which one? John Swan has
I know
multiple
he has
Forest Lake.
multiples.
So then be specific.
Okay, I'll find it for you and give you the exact.
Okay, it was the Forest Lake State Park page, I already know. And yes, it does show on there, selectmen@townofdalton.com. Okay,
Yeah,
because it's saying that the park is in the town of Dalton.
yeah.
Does it say contact John Swan at selectmen at
It's
townofdalton.com?
not, but why don't we relax and go about your business and just conduct this meeting?
I'm just-
Sure, everybody's tired of being here.
I'm just replying to an allegation that you made last meeting.
Not an allegation, simply a question.
Come up with something meaningful, Pam.
Ooh, Jeanette, that's nasty.
Okay.
HB 1264, local election.
I don't have any more news on that yet. I'm waiting on a meeting that the state Secretary of State is supposed to be having. I believe they're doing it on Wednesday. I think there's two, one Wednesday and maybe one next week or Friday. So I should have more to report on whatever we're going to be required to do for that soon. I did send them a sample of our town election ballot, so they have that.
Okay.
So.
Is there any updates on Smith Road?
There is not. I haven't heard anything from the engineer. I did send them an email asking what the status was on the drawings and the bid documents. There is a signature page or two that the town will need to sign once those are ready before he sends them out for bids.
And Ron's already gone over to FEMA.
Yeah, we have another call tomorrow. We talk every week or every other week. So I'll be meeting with Adam and Ron probably Friday morning to start pulling together the mitigation plan and pricing. We got some more clarification on that today, so the outlook is pretty good for that. We just need to take advantage of it and make sure we can get the work done.
That new washout that happened on Prattway Road, that's gonna be included.
You cannot include that in this.
I can't.
Nope.
What about?
Yeah, you cannot.
Okay.
So there, and I think I don't know how many man hours they spent on that, but I think we're looking at like $5,000 of material. So it's not horrible, but no, it has to be from the July storm.
So road damage at 12.
That's what he was just talking about at Mountain and Faraway.
Oh, a little public comment now.
So we got mowing bids there that I wanted to talk about.
I only have one. I'm waiting for another one.
I would like to talk to Adam before we make I still wanna get the bids, but I'd like to talk to Adam before we make our final decision on that.
Okay.
Because Adam talks about, his struggles to keep a man busy, but, have to watch. And I wanna do some research on, it might be cheaper for the town to own their own mower, and you could send somebody out mowing, why they, you know what I'm trying to say? It's just a thought.
I think we asked him that question last spring.
No, I don't think we talked to Adam about that.
They did.
I think it
I
may
think
have
I've heard
been
to ask
Bob,
if maybe
but
if it's,
I think Adam said with what the equipment and stuff that you would have to buy. And then I think Brian had a concern about the mowing of the cemeteries, making sure that they were done properly. But, anything could be discussed.
He was talking about them hitting the rocks,
Mhm.
headers,
Yeah.
headstones.
Those headstones and damaging them.
Yep.
That's happened in the past.
So I got one, we're supposed to get another one, and then, it's only January, so we have time.
yeah,
And they're technically not bids in terms of a legal bid.
Um,
They're just
Right.
proposals.
Is it open discussion now?
Yep.
Last meeting, Michael Ryan, Emerson Road. Last meeting, you were talking about, disposal of hazardous waste, family. What's going on with that?
They voted at the last meeting to participate in it again in 2025.
That's been voted in already?
They voted on it last meeting.
Oh,
August 2nd.
Can I make a suggestion? It's been voted in already, it's done, right? Oh, crap. Because I don't think the town should pay for people to remove their waste. Because you can have a painter have 50 gallons of waste paint, he's gonna bring it there, I have to pay for that. I think that an individual, if he's gonna bring waste there, he should bring it and pay for it himself. And instead of making an expense for everybody in the town.
They're only allowed so much.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's already part of the criteria, and I know we talked about whether we could charge people last year or not, and I don't remember what we decided.
We did not.
But we can discuss that again when we get closer to the event.
I can tell you that I'm a hazardous waste generator in the state of New Hampshire licensed, and I cannot go to one of those sites. I have to get rid of it at a
And I can
specific
tell you, we didn't
place
use
and
it
pay
this
for
time,
it
so.
out of my pocket. I'm not allowed to go to that type of disposal. That's only for homeowners, period.
Well, and there are a
Yes.
lot of materials that they don't take, like they don't take household paint.
What? They
They
don't
don't-
take household
They
paint?
do not take household paint because you can put sand or cat litter in it and dry up the paint and throw
Right.
the can in the garbage.
Yeah, I
So they,
understand. That's
yeah,
what I do.
they do not take latex paint. At the hazardous waste collection, they do not take latex paint.
Kathy Fountain. Just in regards to the special meeting, the supervisors of the checklist will open up 30 minutes before so that any town resident that has not registered to vote will be able to register to vote to be able to be considered that night. Went with that after having a discussion with the director of HAVA regarding special town meetings. And that was their recommendation. So we agreed to do that. And notices have been posted as required for that.
Anybody else?
I make a motion that we go into non-public session under RSA 91-A, colon 3, 2B. Legal.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Are you coming back out into the public?
Only for a minute.
Just want to know
To
if
seal
there's going to be
minutes and-
discussion.
Yeah.
Adjourn.
Is this legal? What's a? I'll wait.
Legal.
Oh, yeah, you forgot to read the RSA definitions as were brought up last week.
No, she did.
The actual whole verbiage.
I'm gonna drive her there tomorrow by 11:30.
Beautiful.
If somebody could be there to make sure the gate's unlocked, that was a concern. We'll have to drive her there.
Thank you, Matt.
You just coming back to return?
You didn't